Hello and welcome to our program, Cultivating Sustainable Relationship for Food and Beverage Management. I'm Chef Marc Tourtolet, Executive Chef at the Javits Center in New York City. We are at the test of New York Bistro. We want to show you a few recipes we're doing for our sustainable program. Also, we're going to introduce you for some of our vendors and partners who are also passionate for our climate and community.
Hi, my name is Katie Cox. I'm a sales manager here at Cultivated. Since we're here at the Javits Center, it doesn't get more local for us than Jacob's Honey, Javits' own honey. So next up, we're going to show you how to create a recipe.
Today, we're going to do a Javits Honey Immune Boosting Tea. So before we start, I would like to talk about all the ingredients we're going to use. First of all, the principal ingredients that will be the Javits honey. We have the wives on the roof. We pick up the honey in our kitchen. Everything is made in-house. This honey where we use in a lot of different recipes, and we do a lot of different things with it. So now we're going to start. For the tea, it's pretty much simple. Again, you have a lot of different options. Depend what kind of tea you like. If you like a white tea, a black tea, a green tea. Today we're going to use a green tea. So we're gonna pour about 3 cups, I would say 3 cups of water. Every cup of water, we're going to put 1 teaspoon of tea. 1, 2, 3. We're going to let it infuse for a few minutes, 2-3 minutes. Make sure it's not boiling. Really important to don't boil the tea. We have some fresh ginger. We grate it. We grate it very finely. We're going to have a teaspoon of fresh grated ginger. 3. We're going to bring all of this to a boil. It's going to take about 2-3 minutes. When after it's boiling, we're gonna do 1 lemon juice inside. Again, if you like more lemony, add some more lemon. If you like less lemony, just remove half of the lemon and use only half. Is up to you. If you like it sweet, I will say do not put sugar in here. Just put sugar in every cup for people who like it more or less sweet. So after your tea rests and is nicely infused with the ginger, the lemon juice, remove the tea bags or pass it through the chinois to remove the tea leaves, and add some honey to it, and let it cool off. That's it. Here we go. Now we have our fresh brew tea right here. So what we do, we have some jars, some nice jars for your party, or if you're lucky to have a swimming pool, even better. Again, I will recommend to do the tea 24 hours ahead. Like this, you can keep it in your cooler and have really cool. This is great. The last one. Okay, and we're gonna top it with a beautiful slice of lemon. Again, if you like it more lemony, you just can press it and add to it. And we have a beautiful immune system tea. It's good for you, good for your body, good for your health. With a beautiful Javits honey. Look at the color, it looks like a honey. It's beautiful. Et voila. Enjoy.
Today, I got the opportunity to interview with 2 of our favorite local vendors, Gotham Seafood and Baldor Specialty Foods. I'm here today with Thomas McQuillan and Samuel Cantor. Samuel, so why don't you tell us a little bit about your position in Gotham and, what Gotham's all about?
Yeah, so I'm Vice President of Sales and Sustainability at Gotham Seafood. We're a wholesaler that helps supply some of the freshest seafood to restaurants, hotels, cafeterias, clubs, and stadiums.
And Thomas, why don't you tell us a little bit about Baldor and your position there?
Thanks so much. Well, we're really excited to be part of this initiative. Baldor Specialty Foods, we're headquartered right here in New York City in the South Bronx. We are a distributor of produce and specialty foods, and we distribute that food not only here in New York City, but through our network, which extends up as far north as Portland, Maine, down to Richmond, Virginia, and we have warehouses both in Boston and DC. And we service this corridor, which is highly populated in the United States, delivering product on about 400 trucks a day to your favorite restaurants and retail outlets, and that's our core business.
You're only local to the Northeast region of the United States. So can you tell us a little bit about why is that important?
Yeah, so the food distribution is very challenging, particularly produce. As you can imagine, when food is harvested on a farm, its best day was its last day on the farm. And the food is immediately starting to break down and change as it is, because it's an organic product. So our job is to get it off the farm as quickly as possible, get it here and get it distributed for your enjoyment as quickly as possible. Those logistics are very complicated and challenging, and we believe that we are really good at doing this. This is our expertise, and we continue to learn and develop our business. But this is, at the end of the day, what we have focused all our energies on. That is a very food safe, responsible, fast logistics system that gets that food to you in the best shape it could possibly get to you. One of the challenges I'll mention is that over the years, the way we process meat in the Northeast has really changed. A lot of the slaughterhouses have closed. So animals that are grown in New York have to be shipped out of the state to be processed. And my hope after the Nourish New York program's success, initiated by Governor Cuomo, hopefully we can encourage the reopening of slaughterhouses so that animals can be processed much closer to where they're raised. And it's great for the local economy. It creates jobs. It creates a better environment for the animal. So the animal's not put on tractor trailers and shipped very long distances, which obviously they're not accustomed to that. And the meat is not as good a quality as a result. But also, we can bring that food close to the restaurants nearby through our network, and that eliminates a lot of the transportation of that food. So there's a lot of good reasons to do it. And I'm very encouraged by the fact that we're learning that we can really expand what we grow locally and consume locally. So there's a lot of good things happening there.
Amazing. Yeah, you know, a lot of times it just makes really good business sense, doesn't it? To just like trying to take a good sustainable approach.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm gonna throw it back to Samuel for a second. With Gotham, how did your sustainability story kind of start? Like, was that always your mission, or was there kind of a moment that changed things?
You know, it's funny you say that because the guy next to me taught me a lot on sustainability. You know, in the beginning on my journey in sustainability about 7 years ago, you know, I thought it was just, you know, really about where the fish was caught, you know, the feed, the catch method. But I learned that there's more to it. So World Wildlife Fund approached us 7 years ago to just kind of analyze, you know, some of the allocation of seafood to some of their corporate partners. And, you know, they said, you want the good news or the bad news? So I said, well, just tell me the bad news. And the bad news is, you know, half of the fish you're sourcing is really sustainable. And then, so that was eye-opening for us.
Yeah.
So we always are doing sustainable exercises with them for the sourcing part to make sure that we're sourcing from the right areas across the world. First time we did our exercise, you know, it's not like school where it's like A to F. It's, you know, there's green, yellow, and red. So, you know, there were things in the beginning that we thought that were sustainable that were not. That, you know, we might have thought were green and yellow, but we're actually red. And I'm going to use one example. So we were sourcing cod from Massachusetts, which is, you know, one of our local fisheries here. and it was red, which is avoid, don't source from there. And then we met a great supplier in Reykjavik in Iceland that was doing cod, and that's when we kind of started seeing all the different aspects of sustainability. So, like for instance, any fish that wasn't up to the quality of the, New York, they would take off the skin of the cod, and they would sell it for pet treats.
Oh,
The bones from the cod, they would sell for fish oil, like fish oil in the bottle, fish oil pills. And then the other, like the actual fish, the flesh itself, they would actually make for like fish and chips that would like be sold into like supermarkets across the country. So that's when we started saying, look at this. They are utilizing every aspect of the fish
yeah.
from the head to the tail. And then that's when we said, okay, this is what it's all about. We don't want anything going to waste, whether it's, even if it's not up to our qualities, there is a place where we could allocate the fish, whether that is for pet food, whether that is for fish oil, fish oil pills, if lobsters are dead, lobster to make lobster bodies so chefs can make lobster bisque, or lobster base. We want to make sure that everything gets used.
So that's amazing. So then at the same time that you kind of, figured out you could be more sustainable, you also found methods to turn that into a revenue stream. That's amazing. And I think that the Sparks program with Baldor is very similar to that. You have a goal to become a zero organics landfill, zero organics to landfill kind of business model. And can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so for us, zero organics to landfill simply means that we glean the greatest value of all of the assets under our management, but in particular food. We own a production company called Fresh Cuts, where we take a carrot and convert it into a carrot stick or a mirepoix. And as a result of that production, there is food left over. And 4 years ago, we made a commitment to find a solution for all that remaining food. We call that food Sparks, scrap spelled backwards with a C. And Sparks sort of changes the narrative a little bit, the way we think about that food. So we don't think about it as waste ever, we think about it as food. We can then, once we think about it as food, we could do something with it. And we found a solution to work with a company in Secaucus, New Jersey named Willenta Feed, who takes that food and converts it into a poultry feed pellet. And so now 100% of the food in Fresh Cuts is either consumed by humans or animals. We also look to find ways to maybe capture some of those sparks for human consumption, working with chefs to come up with solutions for that food. We want to make sure that we eat as human beings as much of the food as we grow as possible and waste none of it. And that starts to make us think more about other aspects of not only the supply chain, but the components in the supply chain that bring the food to us, the boxes, the wood pallets, and any organic matter. Can we work together to not send any of that product to landfill and find uses for it? Hopefully we can reuse it, but if we can't reuse it, can we recycle it? Can we turn it into another product that then can be used again? And that's really the goal. We're proud to say that since November 10th, 2016, we did become a zero organics to landfill company from our Fresh Cuts production. And now we're looking at ways to make sure all organic matter at Baldor, cardboard, plastics, which aren't organic, but plastics and wood pallets, et cetera, corner stays are all recycled and reused. And that's our goal as a company.
Well, thank you guys both so much for taking the time with us today. I feel like we learned a lot. I wanted to just make sure that we end on any parting words. Again, just to follow the pattern, we'll start with Gotham. Any final thoughts that you'd like to share?
Yeah, let's just keep this movement going, Thomas.
Awesome. Awesome. The only thing I would add is I look at the year 2021 as the year of soil. I think that we need to think about in 2021, and I'd love to add C to that, by the way, C and soil. What can we do with the assets in our control that we squander today that can help us rebuild our soil system? When we think about soil in the United States and around the world, compromised soil, the number one thing we could do to take that compromised soil and make it either less toxic or not toxic at all, is to introduce food product that will help rebuild the microbiome of that soil. What we learned was, by trying to, we identified composting at that time in 2015 as a good solution. Unfortunately, the cost to compost was so high that number one, the cost was high, but also we were solving our sustainability initiative, which was to utilize this food 100%. But then we were creating another sustainability initiative issue by transporting the food so far away to be composted. So my point is that you can't solve your sustainability initiatives and create a new problem for somebody else. The initiatives need to be in and of themselves a good solution for everyone involved. And that's a really important component of good sustainable practices. This is, I think, the most exciting thing for us to work on as a culture, as part of our culture and as a community, because by rebuilding that soil, we're going to rebuild plant life, we're going to sequester carbon from the environment, and we're going to provide a soil system that exists for millennia. And we really need to make a concerted effort to work on this together.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you guys both. Have a great rest of your day. Appreciate you joining us.
Thank you so much.
Today I'm on site at the new lab at the Farmshelf headquarters. Today I'm interviewing the founder of Farmshelf, Andrew Scher. Hello, Andrew.
Hi, Mark. Thanks for having me, Chef.
Hey, Andrew. What advice can you offer to chefs who want to plan a menu around growing all year round?
With planning a menu around kind of fresh crops that are grown either on site or in your area, really looking at what the biggest impact on the flavor of your dishes and really showcasing that seasonality or just unique ingredients. For us, being able to grow year round, it's really understanding what flavors the chef is going after and then offering them a wide variety of herbs and leafy greens for that kind of match their menu and also empower them to be creative in the storytelling that they do with their food.
How does the season impact the ability to grow? Is Farmshelf able to grow anything year-round?
With Farmshelf, we're able to grow over 40 leafy greens and herbs for chefs, restaurants, and corporate cafeterias year-round, regardless of season, in a way that guarantees freshness and flavor, regardless of whether it's snowing outside or 100 degrees.
Great. How does your service work? Do I need to know how to garden myself?
We've made Farmshelf really easy, where we're there with you, using software and then the design of the unit to make it easy for anyone to do, really automating the hardest parts.
I noticed that. That's great. Is it difficult to maintain the Farmshelf?
The Farmshelf's very easy to maintain, 30 minutes a week, most of which is either harvesting and adding water once a week.
And how much energy does it take to grow Farmshelf?
When looking at kind of the footprint of growing traditionally versus growing with Farmshelf, we're not spending the same amount of money and resources on transportation, plastic packaging, and it takes a little bit more energy than what you use for a fridge. Additionally, we use 90% less water, no pesticides, no herbicides, helping reduce food waste by growing it where it's consumed and growing it in a responsible way.
Yes. And this is also about, but it's a circle water, yes?
Recirculating water, and so with Farmshelf, it takes about 10 gallons of water a week for a full unit when it's in its kind of prime growth stage, 90% less, if not more, than what you would see in traditional agriculture. But really the key, I think, is when you look at where our food waste comes from, so much of it is from that transportation. So by growing it where it's consumed, you get better quality, and you get to show that story instead of just tell it.
Oh, wow, that's great. And how did you come with the idea of founding Farmshelf?
Growing up, I did some nonprofit work in agriculture and had amazing parents and grandparents that grew food in our backyard, and it was always just a passion. Then I was living in San Francisco, working at Pinterest, and started collecting Pinterest boards on how to grow my own food. I thought it should be a lot easier to do, and so with that level of naivete, I left Pinterest and started Farmshelf with the goal of making it possible for everyone to grow food where they live, work, and eat.
And when did you start it? How long ago?
So I started working on it full time in 2015. but the really company got going in 2016, so it's been a little over 4 years.
And what do you see the biggest barrier for restaurants acquiring a farm shell?
I think it's tasting the produce and testing it, because I think the proof is in the produce. And so once they experience it with a few units, like having one client that started off with 2 and then went to 6, testing, and then as well as working the different ingredients that we're able to grow into their menu, because we offer a wider variety than they can sometimes get from their food service provider.
Oh wow! What sets Farmshelf apart from other growing apps?
What sets Farmshelf apart is we've designed the technology around the plant and the user, making it easy for anyone to do with no previous training, and then designing the technology so that it provides the plant exactly what it needs when it needs it to grow the most flavorful, nutritious, fastest growing produce possible.
And can you talk about your team, Farmshelf team?
The Farmshelf team is made up of over 30 people, engineers, software developers, service and operations staff, and plant scientists, all coming together to bring these different skill sets and talents to make what we do possible and what we do enjoyable to the end user.
And how long have you been working from your HQ?
We've been working here from New Lab since the summer of 2016. Initially moving to New York for a startup accelerator, but then deciding to make New York home because of the amazing culture, food, and diversity that you just see in this city that's so unique.
Oh, that's great. That was my next question. Are you only available in New York, or are you extended in other states?
We're available in New York, DC, Chicago, Texas, and all the 3 major cities, as well as San Francisco, and continuing to expand with strategic partners throughout the next few years.
Now you got to tell me which state is the most for you.
Our home market is our strongest state. So here in New York, we have the largest number of systems. I think we're actually the largest farm in Manhattan. And it's been so much fun to just work with these incredible chefs and restaurateurs and corporate cafeterias to help them really show, not just tell a story with food.
Very good. Do you notice any trends with different markets?
The trends we notice with different markets tend to be around who the type of customer is, more so than the geography. So lots of corporate cafeterias and restaurants really focusing on herbs that can make that big flavor impact, but then also working with education clients and getting to grow, Portuguese kale, which is this really tender kale for the kids, to help them rethink what great tasting vegetables can be.
Yeah, that's great. Yes. Do you work with just restaurants, or do you have some consumer product available too?
We work with restaurants, corporate cafeterias, hotels, and then schools. And for schools, it's typically in K through 12 STEM education, where that's not what this was designed for, but they're using it to learn about how to grow food and about flavor, so that when they go out into the world, they're choosing healthier, fresher options. Because we look here and there's just some, beautiful edible flowers, but it's that moment when you kind of, you get to really open it up and just let people in. That's just so much fun. And the aromas.
The aroma, you can smell the flower and the freshness.
And typically when we go into the field, we see 2 levels of nose marks. There's the adult nose marks, where it's about, here where people are putting their face up on the glass, and then the kid nose marks down here. So it's really fun to see just how engaged and interested people are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I saw that at Javits. It's been really, people are really interested in it, and they're like, wow. And especially when they see Willie pick up herbs or me go pick up some herbs, and just to use it right here at the moment, it's a chef dream.
And hopefully for chefs, it's not just a way to talk about, okay, great, look at these things and look at these few herbs, but it opens up a story. Mm-hmm. It's giving you credit for all the other incredible work you're doing in sourcing food responsibly and sustainably, and providing them with these high quality ingredients, whether they come from a farm shelf or not. This is that thing that starts that conversation and starts them thinking about and appreciating all the incredible work that's going on behind the scenes by you and your team.
I totally agree. Yeah, it's fun. It's fantastic. What's your projection for the future?
When looking into the future and kind of what is the future for local food production and hyper-local food production, I like to think about other examples in history where we've seen some level of shift that's similar. In the early 1800s, we used to ship ice from the north via trains and barges. If I go and tell my mom I'm starting an ice shipping company, she's gonna be like, Andrew, you're crazy. But my grandkids or my kids will look back at us shipping food thousands of miles when they grow it in their kitchen or their backyard, or it's at the local restaurant growing right out front, and be like, what were you thinking? Shipping food thousands of miles when we grow it right where it's consumed. It's a future that I think is about creating a bigger pie, about bringing more people into high quality, nutritious food in a way that uses less resources to create more. It's a future I get really excited about, and that we get to build with our customers and with an incredible team that supports kind of making that possible every day.
Yeah, I think it's an essential for our economy and our future. Absolutely. I have a question too, and I know you're growing herbs, you're growing salad, you're growing a lot. But do you see yourself growing more like bigger vision vegetables like tomato, like squash, like watermelon?
Yeah. So right now, starting with things like leafy greens, herbs, microgreens, things that are kind of that initial entry point. But having already grown strawberries and peppers and tomatoes, and getting to expose people to additional varieties of these things that they can't otherwise get. And then beyond just those kind of three crops, looking at squash, zucchini, cucumbers, watermelons, Brussels sprouts, carrots, potatoes, and radishes. But I think the majority of that focus will really be leafy greens, herbs, tomatoes, and strawberries, because that is such a portion of the diet that we can really impact and improve the nutritional quality and decrease the cost and increase the enjoyment.
Absolutely. We hope you enjoy what you've seen so far. Up next, I'm going to show you how to make a fantastic reusable recipe using fresh herbs. Hi, good afternoon. We're going to make some Farmshelf fresh herbs pesto with some fresh basil today it will be. So we're going to put the leaves in the blender. It's been pre-washed, of course. This is a very fresh basil. It smells really good. We've been using a Farmshelf for the last past years, and we've notified it's really cost effective, and as well, it's a chef dream to work with the fresh produce as possible. We have some fresh garlic and some fresh Parmesan. We're gonna add, we say, a half tablespoon of garlic. We will add some more if we want it stronger. It depends how you like it. You like it strong, you can add more garlic. You like it less strong, you can add less garlic. You can add pine nuts in it. Today we don't gonna add any pine nuts because of the nut allergy. We're gonna be using two different olive oil. So this is a pure extra virgin olive oil, and this one is a blended oil. I believe a 10% olive oil and a 90% canola oil. So what I like to do usually, extra virgin olive oil is too strong, I believe, and it's killing the taste of the basil. So I like to mix a little bit of both. So I put some extra virgin olive oil, about half of a cup. And I'm going to add it some blended oil as well, about half of a cup. Like this is going to be nice, smooth, not too strong. We're going to fill the basil. Finally, add a little bit of salt and black pepper. Again, go easy. You always can add more, but obviously you cannot remove it. So a little at a time. And voila, it's ready to be blended. A little pulse. And voila. So after blending it and try it, I think it's a little bit too liquidy, so we will add a little bit more basil, also a little bit more salt, and we can add a little bit more garlic, and it will be perfect. So we're going to add the garlic, a pinch of salt, and just add a little more basil in it to thicken it, to get this strong, earthy basil taste. That's what pesto is all about. Again, in a box. Also, I want to show you how to store it and freeze it for a long shelf life. One at a time. I fill out my cube tray. It's a lot of different possibility of what we can do with it. And most of it you can store it in your freezer for months. And like I said, use 1 cube one cube at a time as needed. You don't have to defrost a whole batch, and just really use what you need. So as you can see, with 1/4 of basil and 1 cup of oil, it's about a full tray. It's a good way to save money, to save ingredients, to be sustainable. That's what is our vision.
Hello, my name is Ariane Dagen. I'm the owner and CEO of D'Artagnan, or D'Artagnan Foods. For the last 35 years, we've been insisting with our groups of farmers to raise animals the right way. The right way meaning sustainably. No antibiotics, no medications, no growth hormones, plenty of space to roam around, rotational pasture, heritage breed when we can to be able to take our time and mature slowly. All that for one reason, one big main reason, which is the quality in the plate. This is why all the best chefs in America buy our meats and poultry, because they are the best. They happen to be sustainable because in order to get the best, you need to have an animal husbandry that is sustainable. It does have an added benefit that is very important for the planet. It adds biodiversity. Every time you eat a different species of animal, you actually encourage a farmer economically to raise those animals. And biodiversity is the primordial element to be able to have that symbiosis between all these animals. That's why when you do rotational pasture, you start with the cows and then you go to the poultry. That's why the bees are important to cross-pollinate. Everything has a reason, everything is mingled together. We do our little part in there by providing priority number one, the best quality possible in the plate. The added benefit, hey, our kids will still have a planet to live on.
Here at the Javits Center, we absolutely hate food waste. We think about food waste when it comes to who we partner with, as you learned earlier in our program when we spoke with Baldor and Gotham Seafood. We think about our food waste when it comes to planning menus and how we can manage our ingredients better. Our Cultivated chef has a great example of that. We even sometimes get fun with our leftover food, but probably the most important thing that we can do with our leftover food is address food scarcity. We have a lot of opportunities to donate. A lot of our challenges when it comes with food waste can be controlled. But one thing that's hard to control is what the public does with their food. So that's where we come in and create opportunities for customers to make better decisions with their leftover food. One great example of this is our box lunch program. Box lunches are a very popular item here in a convention center setting. We noticed that sometimes people didn't always want to eat their chips, that they didn't want to always eat their packaged cookie. Those items would end up in the trash can. They're packaged, they're still able to be recovered, they can be donated. So we created a really simple solution. We just printed a sign We always create a station where we place the sign, and we invite people now to put their unwanted packaged goods there. That way, in case there's somebody else in the service who wants to swap out the item, they have the opportunity to. So that creates a nice touch for hospitality. But more importantly, it gave us the opportunity to recover that food and donate it rather than see it going into a trash can. We actually have a few donation partners. 3 of the biggest partners that we work with are Common Pantry, City Harvest, and Rethink Foods. For all kinds of logistical reasons, it's really valuable to have multiple donation partners. And one of our favorite partners is Common Pantry. They created a great presentation to educate us about food scarcity right here in New York.
Tuesday, we expect a lot of food to come in, including rescued food. Last year, we saw hundreds of thousands of pounds of food come in from a variety of rescued sources. Last year, this location alone served over 2 million meals, hot meals, pantry meals, brown bag meals. So it's one of our biggest sites and one of our locations that we bring food in from those sources and get it right out. People need to eat. Obviously, a lot of the homeless come here for a hot meal program and our brown bags. We do the pantry program as well for people that have cooking facilities. We can't do it without these sort of partnerships. And people may not know it, but food insecurity and food waste are connected, intertwined. 40% of food in our city and our country get wasted every single day.
Hi, I'm Andre Thompson, Director of Food Programs here at New York Common Pantry. As you can see, I'm standing in our kitchen of our Hot Meals program, where we take in donated food and serve up to 200 guests per meal. We rescue food from all over the city in order to provide food to people in need. Part of what we do is work together to avoid food waste while fighting hunger.
My name is Aura Kemp, and I'm the Senior Program Manager for New York Common Pantries with Healthy Team. While our team is committed to helping people live healthier every single day through small lifestyle changes, policy systems, and environments work, we're also committed to alleviating hunger within our city while promoting dignity, health, and self-sufficiency, the core pieces of what we do here at New York Common Pantry. But none of that work can be done without our partners. During this time of COVID, we've all made adjustments, like working from home. But where we've been able to adapt, we have also been able to capitalize on these partnerships that allow us to continue providing resources that are so vitally important, both for keeping our immune system functioning and healthy, as well as helping us to make sure to fill the plate for New Yorkers most in need. With our city experiencing record high unemployment, with all of us leaning on one another to really make it through this time, our partnerships like those with Restaurant Associates, Fresh Direct, and Invisible Hands have allowed us to continue providing those resources in abundance. So what exactly does that look like? Through our partnership with Invisible Hands, we've been able to deliver over 70,000 meals to our participants over the last 6 months. We've been able to help feed more than 2.2 million meals in just a 6-month period. And that's with a scaled down, our bare bones team doing the work at expedited paces, which we have never been able to do before, but we're learning how to do now. So while the challenge has been vast, so has our response. And it comes and it is supported by partnerships like these. We need them in order to survive. Our agency is 70% volunteer-based, which means that when the pandemic hit, it wasn't just the community taking that hit, but it was our infrastructure as well. So we continued to adapt by offering delivery meals, by adding in additional hours, by having specific times for our most at-risk participants to connect with us in a safe manner. All of these approaches have been ways in which we've continued to deliver on our commitment to help reducing hunger while promoting dignity, health, and self-sufficiency.
All right, welcome back to the Javits Center. Today we're going to do some pickling vegetable to stop the food waste. And the reason is why is because we're a big scale event and we order massive. So a lot of time we have some leftover. So the best way to cross-utilize all of these produce is to pickle them. A pickled vegetable can last for a year in your cooler, and you can reuse it. Longer you keep it, better it's going to taste. So it's a winner for everything. We have some apple cider vinegar, a cup of apple cider vinegar. We're going to have a cup of water, equal parts. To this, we're going to have 1 tablespoon of sugar, granulated sugar, 1 tablespoon of kosher salt. We're going to add some coriander seeds, half tablespoon. We're going to have 1 bay leaves, 1 piece of star anise, and we're going to bring this to a boil. All right, so we're going to slice some cucumbers. Some cucumber left over from an event. We do this with cucumber, we do this with tomatoes, we do this with carrots, we do this with beets, mushrooms, any kind of vegetables is good. So we add our sliced cucumber in a jar. You can get the shape you like. If you like dice it up, you can dice it up. If you like spears, you can spears it. It's not really matter. It's up all your preference, how you like it. Okay, we're gonna put them nicely like this. Important to cut them all the same sizes and thickness like this. There is not some overcooked or not overcooked. To it, we're gonna crush a little bit of garlics. Okay, a few heads. As we said, a slice of jalapeno to give a kick. There we go, a little bit. We're going to add some fresh dill to it. It's to go really well with pickles. So we're going to layer it, a little bit of fresh dill. And also we're going to cross-utilize some fresh dill from our farm shelves. Freshly picked from this morning. And let's put our brine to it now. And here we see our brine, and we just pour it on top of our cucumber. Let it rest for 24 hours, and you get some beautiful pickles, fresh pickles.
There's a basket of ingredients I was going to give you, and you have to create whatever you want. I don't care if it's a salad, one dish, or whatever you want. I don't care if it's a salad, I don't care if it's a soup, I don't care if it's a entree, I don't care if it's a sandwich, I don't care. Whatever you want. Get a spot? No, it has to be here. This area, get out, okay? This area. 1, 2, 3, go. 5 minutes.
Io devo tre cucciare. Come te, go. No. You are my boss. What happened?
I gotta take one. Oh, yeah? Yeah. Tráeme cuchara, María. ¿Tienes cuchara?
1, 2, 3, go. Go. Oh, shit. Go. Here we go. Favorites need to be in the plate. Who wants to go first? Me. So now it's up to me. Where's the plate?
The bread.
The bread.
Hello, I'm Craig Sneddon, president of DirectPak. I'm pleased to be connecting with you from Azusa, California today. At DirectPak, where others see trash, we see a very valuable infinite resource. For 9 years, we've been recycling PET beverage bottles into takeout containers for markets and restaurants. We call this range the bottle box, and it's already making a positive impact. Last year, it became apparent that we could take this a step further and build out on an infrastructure to ensure that all PET food containers, such as salad, parfait, and sandwich containers, could be recycled and made from recycled PET material too. To do this, we invested in our own recycling facility called DirectPak Recycling. We are embarking on a plan with our customers and waste management companies around the country to ensure that all PET plastic containers are recycled. Through those relationships, our first recycling facility is about to meet the 1 million pound mark in PET food container recovery, and we are now looking at opening a second DirectPak recycling facility within the next 12 months. Which brings me to our larger vision of offering a recovery service. We know that educational institutions, conference centers, and a few other organizations are in a unique position to be able to reclaim the containers used under your roof. And it is our objective to support that process by working with the operators to provide recycle bins, pickups, and consolidation of material for DirectPak to recycle, wash, and reuse again into new food containers. With this in place, you can have the peace of mind that your food packaging is not only being diverted from a landfill or an ocean, but that you're also having an impact on the reduction of new virgin PET material being manufactured. If you have any questions about how PET containers can be a more sustainable option for your specific applications, please just give us a call and we would love to work with you to come up with a well thought out solution. To give you a quick understanding on how the recovery to recycling process works, I'll leave you in the hands of our recycling ambassadors who help us with our educational program. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the conference.
Woo!
Hey, what are you doing in here? You don't belong.
He's actually one of us. You both okay?
Yep, I'm here. All good. Thanks. I'm made of PET plastic, just like you, so I can be recycled too.
Oh, I didn't realize. I've never, been recycled before. And I've heard terrible stories of ending up floating in the ocean or sitting in a landfill for years and years.
Well, that's not going to happen now you're here with us. Folks have been recycling me for years, so let me tell you all about it. You see, us bottles can become containers, and containers like Mr. Clamshell here can become other packaging too.
Like me, my material used to hold a chicken salad, but most recently I've been out in the field and packed with strawberries. It was nice to get some sun.
When people find us in the store protecting their food, we might be in our second, third, or fourth lives already.
And once they're done with us, it's so important that all the PET plastic is recycled so the cycle isn't broken, and we can keep doing our job over and over again.
Soon, the truck will come to get us and drop us at a recycling facility to be sorted. Because you were right, youngster. Sometimes packaging ends up in here that isn't like us, and it can't be reused.
The first challenge is to get by the optical sorter. Now, some packaging will meet their fate right there. But you don't have to worry about that.
Agreed. You'll even be fine when the manual sorters double-check that we're all from the PET family. That's so we get the go-ahead to be all squeezed together into a large bale.
We're then transported to DirectPak's wash line and reprocessing facility. That's where our labels are removed and we have a really good bath.
I love that part. It's my favorite.
Hey, where did you come from? Glad you're here to help us tell our story.
What happens next?
Well, after the first bath, we are turned into flake and washed. Oh, again, as a very thorough process.
And becoming flake doesn't hurt. In fact, it's the only time it's okay to flake on your friends. Get it?
Yes, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. So when we become flake, firstly we go through the float and sink. All our good bits sink to the bottom, and all our caps and labels that didn't already come off float to the top and can be taken away. Then we get washed again.
And dried and bagged, ready to get back on the truck.
Ooh, when our flake is finally delivered to the manufacturing facility, it's time to get all warm and melty in the thermoformer.
And that's when we find out what our next assignment will be. So you see, it's an endless cycle. We're like boomerangs that keep coming back.
We're an infinite loop.
It's time.
Oh, I am so looking forward to my bath.
I wonder what I'll become next.
I recommend the field. I really do.
Please recycle all your PET packaging. Just look for the number 1.
Here at Javits, we believe in inclusive and good work opportunity for everyone. We partner with vendors and organizations who share the same vision as well as us, and we love you to learn about them as well.
"30 years ago, the Marriott family established the Bridges from School to Work program. They did this with one goal in mind: to improve the opportunities that people with disabilities have to work. They created Bridges specifically to guide young people through the job search process and provide them with the soft skills required to navigate the competitive workplace."
Bridges youth learn how to overcome obstacles. They feel confident knowing that we will support them throughout the entire process, from creating resumes to preparing for work, looking for jobs, completing applications, interviewing, and maintaining a job.
Participants work in a wide range of industries, including but not limited to retail, food service, sports and entertainment, offices, hospitals, hotels, airports, distribution centers, and maintenance. Our network of Bridges program reaches youth, schools, and employers in Atlanta, Baltimore, Boston, Chicago, Dallas, Fort Worth, Los Angeles, New York City, Oakland, Philadelphia, San Francisco, and Washington, D.C. If you are an employer in one or more of those cities and you want access to interview young people who can do the job and want nothing more than to come into work every day and work hard, then you need to connect with the Bridges office in your area.
When we partner with employers, we screen and select candidates based on their hiring specifications. And then we match them with the skills, the abilities, and the interests of our candidates. 98% of employers have been satisfied with the performance of Bridges youth, and nearly 40% of employers have hired more than one.
Bridges partners with many different employers across many different industries, but it's always great to partner with employers that are trying to make a difference in their communities. Young adults with disabilities are often overlooked when it comes to competitive employment, but in reality, these skilled and talented individuals make up an incredibly valuable talent pool that thrive in any opportunity presented to them. We at Bridges are proud to say that we've had participants employed at the Javits Center for over 2 years and counting, and we have witnessed tremendous growth in all of these young adults. The Javits Center doesn't focus on the barriers that these young adults face, and instead they focus on the talents that they have to offer. That's why it's great to partner with employers like the Javits Center and Cultivated. They're committed to bettering their community as a whole, from spearheading Climate Week and being the country's largest green venue, to providing life-changing employment opportunities to often overlooked individuals. From the beginning of our partnership, they really understood the positive impact and productivity that Bridges candidates could bring to their staff. We at Bridges are honored to partner with the Javits Center and Cultivated because we know the positive impact that they're committed to making, and they're truly making positive changes in our communities as a whole.
I came to Bridges to look for a job with only just a few months of experience in customer service. I've been at the Javits Center before for events, and the good thing is that I've known them already, not as a worker, but as a customer. It was a lot of fun to see people who are famous and that I'm a fan of. As a worker, you have to avoid that to help the customers. I stayed focused on the job, and it was pretty fun. I had a lot of freedom.
I had trouble in school, didn't finish, and I had to find a job as a young adult from the Bronx. Finding things I am good at. Interviews, my resume, bringing me to my interviews at the Javits Center, keeping my job. I've been helping out my family since I've been there for 2 years, and I've been able to help others from Bridges students and who also works there. Young adults like these two are great examples of the success that Bridges can help candidates achieve. By meeting with them regularly and imparting the skills necessary to stand out in today's competitive workforce, Bridges helps generate the confidence, experience, and skills required to become employed and to stay employed. The Bridges motto says it best: we are transforming lives through the power of a job.
My son, Samuel, is a high-functioning young autistic man, was having difficulty finding meaningful work. And my wife said to me, look, we have to come up with something. This is not working. So we went out to look for businesses in the neighborhood, and just an incredible coincidence. The very first thing we looked at, the first business listing was a popcorn store.
But we have our steady flow of customers that look for us every game. And it's about our adults working and just networking and meeting people. And that's what we're all about.
I never had the vision that we would be where we are, and it was just supposed to be at the beginning Samuel, maybe one or two of his classmates. And as we grew, we also began getting more and more requests for young men and women on the autism spectrum and other developmental disabilities looking for work. And it soon became obvious that the unemployment rate is off the charts in the autistic community, in the disabled community in general. Numbers you would never think of: 80% unemployment, 90% unemployment. And so we had a solution to help out a little bit, but still we help.
I never worked in my whole entire life, and when I came here, I learned new things about myself. Always very shy, and now I like to talk to people because I have experience here.
I enjoy most of all the different kinds of jobs I can do, from making the popcorn to bagging it to sealing it, selling it.
Because they have social difficulties and language difficulties, a lot of people don't assume competence, and I think that's really important, to assume that they're the competence. And I always say that if you become friends with somebody with autism or disability, it's really a gift you give yourself, because they will teach you more than you will ever teach them.
The work has a way of flushing out the workers' talents. As popcorn offers a whole range of jobs, from very simple to very complex, to those that need mechanical skills, to those that need personality.
Oh, it's great. They love it. It's just, they say it's fantastic. Everyone likes the Chicago baked cheddar, the dark chocolate espresso, the cookies and cream.
I feel really proud about all this, and I feel like I've done a lot with all of this.
You know, when we're doing the hiring process, a lot of questions that we ask are, what do you like to do? And what do you feel comfortable doing? And so, you know, we'll start them out in those roles. Let's say someone is like, oh, I'm not very good with handling money, but I like talking to people. Okay, great. So you can, you know, work with the sales, and then someone else will be there to help you count the money and things like that. But, you know, once they get comfortable with that one portion, we'll kind of push and hopefully get to another portion. Like, okay, let's try working on money skills. This popcorn business has been able to really work with people on their abilities. There's a place for everyone. That's what we've found, and it's been really great.
Thank you for joining us today. If you want to learn a little bit more about our program and what we're doing here at the Javits Center, please follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn. Have a beautiful Climate Week.